Hello and welcome to this inspired life. How would you like to master a skill that people such as Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Nikola Tesla, Elon Musk, Thomas Edison, George Westinghouse, Sir Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, and so many other genius level people utilized during their lifetime to change the way we see the world and to change the way the world is? That skill that I'm going to show you a really cool way to access it and really cool way to start mastering it today is creative visualization. The ability to see something so clearly in here, in your head, to the very smallest detail before you even take your hand to a piece of metal or to a paintbrush or whatever, to be able to see it in your head so clearly and so vividly. That is true genius. And creative visualization is a skill that if you can master it or get close to, or at least be on the road to learning how to master it, your experience of your future and the life that you want to live, where we talked about creating your version of reality in order to create those outcomes, those desired outcomes for your life, the way you want your life to be. Creative visualization is going to be a fundamental part of that process, period. It's the best place to start. If you can begin with creative visualization, the other pieces, the other skills that I teach you that I'm going to go through with you and have already been through with you for some, are going to just slot into place so much easier, and you're going to just get it. Okay, so with that said, what is creative visualization? Well, in short, I've already touched on it, which is it's the ability to see something so clearly in your head that it cannot help but come into being, right? So creative visualization is such a key skill. And I mentioned such names as Nikola Tesla. Okay, now I watched a really cool movie. I put off watching this film, right? It's called The Current War. Now I put off watching this film because I stupidly did not read anything about it or look it up, right? So I was under the impression that it was a war film. So it was like a World War II movie or something like that, because it's called The Current War, right? I didn't think to question that. That was a mistake on my part, because it's actually a really cool movie. And what it is about, it's about the war, the competition between Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse for electrical current supply to the United States around the turn of the 19th, between the late 1800s and the early 1900s, right? And it kind of culminates in a bid to light up the World's Fair in Chicago. Excuse me. But anyway, so the movie is really cool. But one of the key members of the movie, and the one that actually tips the balance in Westinghouse's favor in the end, is Nikola Tesla. Now, number one, he's played, and he's, the actor plays him perfectly. I believe it's Nicholas Hoult who plays him in the movie, but it's absolutely spot on. From what I've read of Tesla, and I've studied him, and I've read kind of some detail about Nikola Tesla. I'm pretty big fan. But there's a really cool scene where he's presenting to this very small, pathetic-looking group of well-to-dos for investment in a business project. Now, he's just had all his funding pulled, but he's presenting anyway his plans for this electrical motor that he's got in his head. And that's the key point here. And it's the fact that somebody asked him in the crowd, so have you actually done the tests on this? Have you run this? He said, yes, I have. He said, well, can we see it? No, you can't, because it's in my head. I have built it to the last nut in here, and I have run it and tested it and fine-tuned it and perfected it. It works. And I just thought that was such a powerful scene in itself for the movie, but also for life, really. And when you talk about something like creative visualization, that man and so many others, I mentioned a few at the beginning of the video, are masters of the art of creative visualization. So what about you? Now, usually when the subject turns to creative visualization, some people have a bit of resistance. No pun intended, talking about electrical currents. But sorry. There's a tendency to have a bit of fight back. There's pullback on it or pushback to it. Because people will be adamant that they can't visualize, that, I've got no visualization ability. And others will be, I'm crap at visualization. Okay, so to answer each one of those in turn, I'm crap at visualization. Okay, you can visualize. We all can. It just takes practice and you will get better. Because chances are, if you're sitting there thinking, I'm crap at visualization, chances are you've never really put much effort into it. You've never really sat with it to think, how can I become better at this? Because it is one of those things where it's not another skill you need to go out and buy a textbook for. It's not another skill you need to buy an expensive online course to learn how to do. It is just something that you need to sit with. And I'm going to take you through a really cool exercise later, which will hopefully get you well on the way to mastering it. And if not, if you repeat the exercise regularly, you will certainly get so much better at it to the point where you will be on the journey to mastering it. And as to the point of, if you're the type of person that says, oh, I can't visualize, close your eyes right now, if it's safe to do so. Obviously not if you're driving, but close your eyes when it's safe, and then visualize the front of your house. Now, I want you to shout out what color the front door is of your apartment, house, whatever. Okay, right? Now, shout out which side of the door the handle is on. Right? So, when I asked you that, you were able to immediately bring a picture into your head of the front of your house or flat or whatever, right? And when I asked you about the door handle, you were able to just zoom in on the door specifically, okay? To be able to tell me, or to be able to shout out which side of the door the handle was on. Another one, just to really push the point home, and it's kind of a trick of the mind as well, because I'm going to tell you not to do something. All right? Don't think of a pink elephant. What is the first thing you thought of when I said that? Okay? Pink elephant, right? It is just the way the mind works, in as much as it has to be able to see what it is it's not meant to see, so that it can then go around and identify, if you happen to be walking through a field or the savannah and you're suddenly surrounded by pink elephants, your brain is going to, number one, freak out, as I would imagine most people would, seeing an entire field or savannah full of pink elephants. But that's the first thing it will do. You will probably excrete a little bit, because they're big creatures, elephants, and if they're pink, it's a case of what the fuck. And you will then, though, your brain will focus on anything but an elephant, because you've told it. I've told you, don't think of a pink elephant. All right? You can see them, but it won't register in your head because I've told you not to think of a pink elephant. All right? So, with that done, what am I going to do with you today? Well, I'm going to take you through an exercise which I first learned way back in the mist of time, actually at or from a recording of an internet marketing conference. I know it's so weird, but it has been modified by different people in personal development over the years. It has been adjusted, it has been played with and manipulated, but the basic concept is the same. Now, it was presented at that conference by an internet marketer called Frank Kern. Okay, now he's now a consultant and whatever now, but I just wanted to make sure that I was giving you my references so that there's no infringement of copyright or anything else. Okay, so let's get going. A couple of things to start off. Number one, open your mind. Just let your mind just be completely open. and go with whatever comes into it first. Okay, do not self-edit. So anything that comes into your mind as you listen to me take you through this exercise, don't edit it. Don't self-edit it. Just go through it. Number 2, be as detailed as you can. The devil is in the detail, and it's the same here. The more detailed you are, the clearer it becomes. And the clearer it becomes, then that's where the magic happens. Because when you can vividly imagine something, your brain will go out of its way, your subconscious mind will go out of its way to help you discover opportunities, synchronicities, people, places, things, information that will help it to become real. So, what we are going to do, and there's another one, which is the fact that there are no limitations and there are no consequences. So, let me start with consequences. As long as it does not cause or lead to causing harm to another human being or living thing, anything goes. As long as it's not illegal, anything goes, right? And we're talking about limitations. So if you're listening to or watching this from your bed with a broken leg, just imagine, for the sake of this exercise, that you don't have a broken leg. Okay, given that I'm recording this in June 2020, some of us are still in the midst of lockdown, some of us are just coming out of lockdown, depends on where you are in the world. So if you're listening to this during that time, during the coronavirus, then just imagine, for this purpose of this exercise, that it's all done and dusted, it's all gone away, and we are back to life as we knew it before, which is just being able to travel where we want to go, do what we want to do, right? So with that said, I'm going to be asking you, and we're going to be going through in very, very rich detail. I'm going to be asking you very specific questions. Okay, and what I want you to do is firstly listen to this all the way through once. Okay, so watch me and listen to me take you through this exercise the entire way through just once, before going back to the beginning and grabbing a notebook and a pen, or a journal and a pen, to write this down, to respond, to write down the answers to the questions I'm going to ask you. Okay, you can do it in bullet point form and then become, your own version of the descriptive genius writer that you are. That works too, but just take the time, give yourself the gift of time to do this properly, which should take a couple of hours. If you do this properly, it should take you a couple of hours to really get into the detail of this. Okay, so without further ado, what we are going to be doing today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is I want you to think about and describe your ideal average day. So, let me clarify. Why day? Well, most goal setting focuses on the generalized, how do you want your life to be? And that's kind of good, that's awesome to a point. But like I said, the devil is in the detail. So when we focus in on a single day, it makes all the difference. Believe me, when you've done this exercise and you've got all your answers and you can read back through it, you will see what I mean. Secondly, ideal average day. So ideal and average. Now, you can replace the word ideal with perfect. It really doesn't matter. But this is a day that if you were to have a groundhog moment where you had to live the same day over and over and over again, this is your perfect average day, is one where you would be quite happy to do that with this day. Okay, so with that preamble out of the way, you know the rules, for want of a better description. So here we go. All right. So if I fidget, excuse me, I'm standing up doing this, so it might take a while. If so, I'm going to get achy legs. But I want you to just take a few deep breaths. Hold them as you breathe in, and then breathe out, and let your shoulders drop. Now, if you do that a few times, so breathe in, hold, and breathe out. That's just going to relax you slightly. You don't need to be fully relaxed. But when you can start to feel any tension in your shoulders just dissipate, you are in the perfect place to do this. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes if it's safe. And I want you to imagine as you open your eyes, you are opening your eyes on your perfect average day. So I want you to imagine what is the first thing you see when you wake up? What is your bedroom like? What does it look like? How big is it? How many windows does it have? What's the view like from those windows? What does the bed feel like? How big is the bed? Who's in there with you? Speaking of that, I want you to take a look at who's next to you, if there is anybody next to you. What are they like? What do they look like? How does it feel inside to know that they're there and they are with you? Now I want you to sit up, and I want you to throw your legs off the side of the bed. And I want you to sit on that bed, in that bedroom. Take some deep breaths. I want you to notice how it feels to be there in this moment. So I want you to get up now. I want you to imagine walking around that room. What do you notice? What are the details you notice? Do you have any pictures on the walls or on the dressers? If so, what are they? Are they motivational sayings and quotes from heroes and mentors? Or are they just works of art? And I want you to notice that your partner, if you have one, is just stirring too. She or he wakes up. What is the first thing you say to each other? What do you talk about in the mornings? How do you look at each other? And as you talk about the day ahead, what are you most excited by? What prospect excites you most about the day? So what's the first thing you're going to do now? So when you finish talking to your partner, or if you're on your own, when you finish sitting there with your thoughts, I want you to go through your specific morning routine. It can be whatever you want it to be. Is it a 20-minute meditation? Is it a 20-minute exercise where you use empowering questions to help reinforce yourself and your character? What is your morning routine? And just notice how much you look forward to doing it, and how wonderful it feels when you're in the middle of it, and how even more wonderful you feel when you finish your morning routine. So speaking of which, when you've finished your morning routine, what do you do next? Do you go for a run? Do you do laps in your pool? Do you have breakfast first, or do you shower? It's entirely up to you. It's your average perfect day. So what do you do next? What do you have for breakfast? What type of food do you like? What type of food do you have? What type of food do you love to have for breakfast? What do you drink for breakfast? Or with breakfast? When it comes to showering, before or after breakfast, what's the bathroom like? Go on a tour of the bathroom. Is it huge? Is it good enough? Is it a wonderful space where you can comfortably go through your ablutions, clean yourself, take care of yourself? What's the shower like? How does it feel under that shower? And as you finish up in the bathroom, I want you to walk over to your wardrobe. I want you to open it or walk into it and notice all the clothes you have there in front of you. What are they like? What is your style like? What clothes do you love to wear? What fabrics feel the most wonderful against your skin and most comfortable for you throughout the day? So when you get changed for the day, what are you most looking forward to doing next? Do you look forward to taking the kids to school? Are you dropping the kids off at school? What do you talk about in the car with the kids? How do you interact with them? How do they interact with you? How much fun do you have with the other parents at the school? Do you just love to stop and chat, or do you just love to drop the kids off and then get on with your day? What do you do next? So when the kids are dropped off at school, what's next to you? Do you return home to your home office? Describe what that's like. Describe your home office that's laid out just the way you want it. It could be a home studio, it could be a home recording studio or a home office, or just a desk in the corner of a room somewhere. It's entirely up to you. Or do you have an office space elsewhere? In which case, what's that like? And while we're talking about home, what's your house like? What type of house do you live in? Whereabouts do you live? What country do you live in? What state? What region? Do you live in the countryside? Do you live in the city? Do you live in the mountains? Or do you live by the coast? Or even on the beach? Really visualize that now. Get clear on that. And describe it in as much detail as you can. How it feels. We're all about experiences here. We're talking about the experiences and the things, not just one or the other, but both. But we focus on the experiences. So, what's your house like? Where is it? And when you're at work, think about the people you work with. Who are your colleagues, your employees, your business partners? What are they like? What are your customers like? Imagine what it would be like to only have customers who interact with you in such a way that it's an absolute pleasure. Customers that you cannot wait to talk to. Because you know they're not going to be hassling you. They're just giving you a call because they want to say hi. How awesome would that be? Same with suppliers. Same with business partners, external ones. So what do you do at work? What is your work? And why do you love doing it so much? What is it about your work that drives you? What is it about your work that makes you so passionate about it? Now remember, this is your perfect average day. So if you had to live this day over and over and over again, you would be more than happy to do so. So let's go to lunch now. Where do you go for lunch? What do you eat? Who do you eat with? If you eat with someone, what do you talk about? What food do you order? Do you have a glass of wine? What's that like? How does that feel? To have a long, luxurious, boozy lunch. Feels pretty good, right? It does for me. So after lunch, do you go back to work, or do you only work in the mornings? Do you only need to work a few hours a day in order to achieve the lifestyle and the income that you need for your lifestyle? So what do you do in the afternoon? Do you go back to work? Do you work on creating more wonderful content for your clients and customers? Do you get on a live call with your customers? Do you see some in person? What is your perfect average afternoon at work? And then we're heading home now, or wherever you want to go. What do you do in the afternoon? Do you go to the tennis club? Do you go to the swimming pool? Do you go down the beach? Perfect average day. If you could do this every single day, you would be happy to. So you go surfing, do you go swimming in the ocean, or just walking along the beach, or just sitting on the sand? What is it that makes you you? What is it that makes you come alive in your perfect average day? Excuse me. And then we head home. Do you pick the kids up, or does your partner pick the kids up from school? How does that feel when you see them again, whether it's at school or at home? How does it feel when they tell you about your day, their day? What do you talk about? And then you get in and it's family time, or it's quality time with your partner. What is that like? What do you do with your partner? That's so much fun. Be detailed, be honest. Nobody has to see this except you. So that's an important point. If you're in a situation where things aren't necessarily working out for you right now in one or other area of your life, this exercise is designed for you designed to help you realize that you can have perfect. You can have exactly what you want. So remember that no one else has to see this. So if what's coming into your head is different than what is is waiting for you at home, put it down. It's just something to think about. So when you get in and your evening, so what's dinner like? What do you have for dinner? What kind of food do you love to eat? Do you get takeout, home delivery? Or do you go out for a meal with the family? Or just your partner? Or do you eat at home, a healthy home-cooked meal? What is that like? And then as you wind down in the evening, what does that look like for you? What does that feel like for you? How does it feel when you sit back and you relax, maybe with a drink with your partner, and you think about the day that's just been, how wonderful it's been, how successful it's been, how much fun you had at work, how much fun you're having now. When you think about your perfect average day from the evening, what stands out to you as the highlight of the day? And while you're enjoying yourself with your partner in the evening, what do you do together? Be honest. Is it an evening of intimacy and passion? Or do you just love to sit together and watch the fire, or sit out by the pool, or just watch the sunset. It's entirely up to you. It's a perfect average day. And now, what is your late evening routine? So what are the last things you do before you start to get ready for bed? And do you go through an evening routine, brushing your teeth, folding your clothes, whatever it is, put it down, be as detailed as you can. And all the time, wherever you are in the house at this point, describe it in as much detail as possible. So earlier in the evening when you're sitting with your partner, if you're in the living room, describe the living room. If you're sitting out by the pool, describe your garden. Okay? This is all about the detail. So go into as much detail as possible. So now we're ready for bed, and you're lying there. What does it feel like to be in between the lovely, cool sheets with the most amazing man or woman next to you? Or if you're on your own, how does it feel to be there with all of those wonderful thoughts in your head? And what are you thinking about right now? Write it all down. And if you're there with a partner, what do you talk about? What do you laugh about? Because laughter is the most amazing thing with someone that loves you and someone you love. So now that you're ready for bed, what is the last thing you do? And who do you do it with? To really go into detail, guys. Really go into detail. And remember, like I said, it's only you that's going to see this. So be as detailed as you can. And then what are your last thoughts that run through your head just as you fall off to sleep? Now, remember at every point during this exercise to be as detailed as possible. And I'm talking about down to the decor. What ornaments are on the mantelpiece in the living room? What's the colour of the furniture on the patio in the garden? What flowers are in your garden? How big is the pool? Do you have a pool? What about a jacuzzi? Or a hot tub? Okay? Do you have a dog? What type of dog is it? How are they? What's the dog's character? What's she like? He like? Be as detailed as possible with every single one of these, and you'll find that you will begin to construct your perfect average day, piece by piece by piece. And then when you can put it all together, you'll come up with a page, 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, as much as you need to. And you can really make this as long as you need to make it, just to go through from the moment you open your eyes in the morning on your perfect average day, right the way through to the last thoughts that go through your head at night. Okay, from the first thing you see to the last thing you think. We're talking as much detail as possible about the people in your lives, about the places you spend time. And it's important to stress that what is home to you? So where is home to you? What does the house look like? How big is it? How small is it? Whereabouts is it? That's the crucial one. Because for so many people, they get hooked on this idea that they see on YouTube or they see on, social media influencers showing them around their cribs. I hope I said that right. It's not a word I'm used to using. So people will inevitably pick up on that and say, oh, I'd love that house. Chances are that house is not going to be for you. But this exercise will allow you to identify exactly what type of house is for you, whereabouts it is, what it looks like, how it's decorated, how do you furnish it. All the minute detail that you might otherwise think is insignificant is so significant in this. So be as detailed as possible. And like I said, just I hope you managed to listen through all the way through this first time. But then I want you to go back to the beginning. When I finish the video, I want you to go back to the beginning and play it again, but then take time with everything. So when we talk about the first thing you see is out of the window, really just pause it, have a think, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, really put yourself in the position of your future self and open your eyes again and see what's out of that window. Okay, describe the scenery. That's the kind of detail I want you to go into, because it's just so impactful and it's so memorable, and it's going to stay with you, and it's going to have such a big impact on how you craft your construct of reality, of how you want reality to be for you. This is an integral part of that. So this exercise, they've not been coming at you in order, but that's deliberate, because I want you to think about the individual content in the videos that I post individually. So I don't want you to think, oh, well, I've done that, now I can move on to this one. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. It's not a sequential thing. There are certain things you need in place, yes, but you don't have to think about them in a certain sequence. But for this, I really do encourage you to go back through and watch it as many times as you can, as many times as you want to. Just keep watching it over and over again until you can get this really vivid, clear image of your perfect average day without any limitations. There are no consequences. And like I said throughout, it's only for you. This is for your eyes only. No one else has to see it. If you want to share it, by all means. But I would recommend that it's just for you, because that way there's no voice in the back of your head that's telling you to edit in case such and such sees it and doesn't like it. It's not theirs, it's yours. Okay, so I am going to leave it here. My voice is starting to go a bit croaky, as you may be able to hear. Terrible allergies this year. I don't know why. But so I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really do encourage you to go back through the exercise and do it again and again and again until you've got this beautiful descriptive image of your perfect average day. It's fine to have it in your head. I'm not saying you can't just stick with it in your head, but it's so much more powerful and so much more impactful if you have it written down. So I do encourage you to go back through and keep pausing the video as you answer and you go through each segment of the day. That's a good thing to mention actually at this point, is the fact that if you want to break down the day into segments, please do. What do you do first thing in the morning before breakfast? What do you do at breakfast? What is your late morning like? Okay, what is lunch like? What is early afternoon? What is late afternoon? And so on. You can do it any way you want to do it. So I've taken you through the exercise as I teach it. And it's important that you just go through and you work on every single detail element over and over again and be able to come out with a pretty substantial couple of pages at least. At least, I mean, I would say your perfect average day. This is your perfect average day. So this is you living a fuck me lifestyle, right? A life that makes you go, wow. So it would be very disappointing if you could sum that perfect average day up in a page of A4. Very disappointing. So really take the time and go back through it again and again until you can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of A4 where you've got it written in real clear detail, right down to the tiny, most insignificant things. What colour are the buttons on the couch cushions? Right? Little things matter. Now, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please keep going back through this exercise. Really is crucial. Really is so good. It's so impactful and so powerful when you really take the time to do it a few times. So I'm going to leave it there. I've been Andy Taylor. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again very soon in the next one.